This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Well, everybody, let's get to the mailbag. Hear what you guys have to talk about this week as we get closer to the King and Queen of the Ring event that is just a couple weeks away. This feels like a really quick turnaround for an event, but after this point, then we have the event coming up in Scotland in June, so that'll be coming to us quicker than we know, and then it'll be off to Money in the Bank and then SummerSlam. So here we go as we get to the patrons who sent in some questions. And before we get there, I want to welcome some new patrons who have joined us over the last, let's say, 4 days. And let's see here. We've got Tariq, $13.99. Lisette, I think I pronounced that correctly. Lisette, Mike Lowry, I already gave a shout out to, but welcome back. And thank you so much for joining us. I think you'll enjoy everything we have to offer because we prioritize all of you in the mailbag, which we're going to do right now. So let's get to the patrons. I don't know if there's anything internally. I think most of you sent everything via email, but I'm going to check anyway. Let's see. We've got, we do. We have one. This is Warpath. And he says, thanks for the podcast. I returned to WWE or wrestling in general just before the Royal Rumble and found this podcast shortly after. Well, very cool and welcome. I'm a big fan of Jade Cargill and agree with you on her thoughts thus far, and I had been disappointed and frustrated with her matches. Limited action and very short matches and same 2 or 3 moves. I hate smash matches, but I was happy to see her team with Bianca. I thought Backlash was a good step forward for Jade. She got some good ring time and several new moves. That crossbody off the top rope was awesome. As for clunky, I think you can find that most matches are clunky at times. Plus, she is a strong woman and her matches are going to be a bit slower with power moves, and that's fine. Can't everyone have everybody flying around the ring? She took another step forward with her Queen of the Ring match with Piper Niven. Her sell when she was on the defensive was better, I think. I don't think WWE will have Jade take on Bianca in Queen of the Ring, so I think Jade will beat Nia and Bianca will lose to Tiffany Stratton. I am at odds with a Jade and Tiffany match. I really like Tiffany as well. She seems to steal the show when she's in the ring, and I think Tiffany could use the win more than Jade. Before the tournament started, I picked Tiffany to win Queen of the Ring and Gunther to win King of the Ring. Guess we'll see how those predictions go. One more thing. What's up with Braun Breaker? The big signing to SmackDown, then the big draft pick to Raw, only a 30-second smash match. And he's going to the GM's office to chat. I'm out. Okay, I'll reverse all the questions and start in reverse order. Braun Breaker, they had a plan, and then they said, hey, we've got a draft coming up. He's going to go to Raw. Let's not do much with him on SmackDown. I think at the time they had plans, and then they're like, whoop, wait a minute, we've got a draft. So that's that. And yeah, I mean, I don't want Braun Breaker to have Goldberg style matches either. I want Braun Breaker to show what he can do, and that's not just smashing people and spearing people. That's fine if that's how you start him out to make an impact and get your attention. But that's not how you keep people interested. Goldberg, I know you didn't make the analogy, but I am, was a attraction, and it was the right guy in the right place at the right time. It's not usually a formula that is sustainable for success. So I think Braun will eventually have to break, see what I did there, out into longer format matches. Yeah, as far as Jade goes, clearly they're not going to go to Jade Bianca yet. They're many months away from that. They're not ready for that. Specifically, Jade isn't ready for that matchup. She's still a work in progress, and Tiffany does seem to steal the show. Tiffany would be a perfect Queen of the Ring. Because ultimately, what does winning these tournaments mean? You get to wear a crown and play pretend and dress up for a few weeks? Like what, that's why it's it's a tournament designed for heels to win, because seeing a babyface do it and then have a babyface take it seriously, would be completely counteractive to what makes a babyface likable. So it's a tournament designed for heels to win nowadays, and I think you're correct in that assessment. And you're right, matches can be clunky. She is a powerful woman, likely the strongest woman on the roster, and so she's got a lot more muscle, and she's not as flip-floppity and fly like some of the other women, and that means you're going to have to adjust to Jade's style. And I think it's just like working with Piper Niven or with Nia Jax, bigger women. You're going to have to figure out a style that works, because the style today is 100 miles an hour, flip-flop fly, 450 splash, all that stuff. And I like Jade and Nia and Piper. They're bigger women, yes, and those two are bigger in different ways, of course. But the physics are still the same, and I like their style of matches because it gives you a different taste of a match, different formula, different feel for a match, instead of just the typical pace you see. So I think, yeah, Jade is going to be clunky. I think we have to understand that. She's going to be clunky for a little while, and working those clunks out in front of us is just something that we're going to all have to just deal with. But I'm seeing promise, and like you said, we're seeing progress. That's ultimately what we're looking for. Cool. Thanks, Warpath. Let's go to our next person here. Let's go to Levi, another patron. He says, "Hi, Matt. I just wanted to bring something to your attention about Jey Uso. Not sure if you know this, but his theme song is called Main Event-ish, and I think it is very fitting and somewhat funny if that's how they view him internally. Jey can main event when needed, but I don't know that he's a must-see main event talent yet, that's all." Well, no, he's not. But I think the idea is to get him there. And he is, I mean, think about where he was, you know? Think about where he was. Yes, he was a part of the Bloodline. He was involved in one of the greatest stories WWE's ever told. But I think ultimately his greatest success is yet to be seen in a singles role. Much more successful than his brother has been up to this point. And, you know, taking away their match at WrestleMania, which was an unmitigated disaster. Generally, Jey has had some awesome matches. He has been believable in the main events. He just hasn't won the big one yet. So I think that's coming. Thanks, Levi. All right. Let's get to Freeman, another patron. Freeman says, "Hi, I'm on holiday in Aberystwyth at the moment and want to check in to say it's pronounced Glasgow, not Glasgow. Whoops. Don't feel bad. Not even the ring announcers seem to be able to get British place names correct. Okay, so I shouldn't feel that bad. I don't do it on purpose. I really don't. Okay, so it's Glasgow, not glass cow. Got it. Okay. But here's the thing. I say I got it, and you know what I'm going to do 10 minutes from now. I'm going to pronounce it wrong again. I mean, I'll try. At least for this moment, I know that I need to pronounce it Glasgow. Got it. Okay. I'm sorry, but once again, I feel the need to talk about music in WWE. Damian Priest obviously got a new song to help him with his babyface transition, but it's just bad. I tried to like it, but just chanting All Rise over and over is a lazy way to make a song. The catchphrase isn't even that over. Has anyone actually risen when he has said it? What's worse is Ilya Dragunov's entrance, which just feels amateurish when compared to his opponents. I get where Iwi is coming from with his classical sounds, and it does set him apart, but it feels like they found a royalty-free track available online when compared to his opponents' overproduced pop songs. He needs a rework. Now that he's on the main roster, classical music can be brought into the modern roster. Just look at Charlotte Flair and Gunther for examples of how it's done. Yeah, that's very true. You know, Gunther, I don't think gets the praise for his music either. It's classical music that fits his personality perfectly. Charlotte too, with royalty. Damian's, I didn't even really pay attention to his song, and to be honest, it may catch on. Maybe it will catch on. And just for a fun fact, if you didn't catch where he's got the whole All Rise from, it's from Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees. You know, that's part of his gimmick, is All Rise for the Judge. Aaron Judge, get it? So that's where he got it, was from the Yankees. So those of you that aren't Yankees fans now hate him even more, but I don't know if it'll catch on. And maybe also don't forget, he's a heel. He's been a heel for a long time now, a dislikable heel. And maybe, again, they might be in the transition of turning him. Sometimes music can do that. Sometimes music is so good that it can turn a guy babyface. I mean, look at Seth Rollins. In part was due to his song. In part, of course, not fully. But let's give it some time. Give it some time. Maybe the All Rise thing will catch on. It hasn't thus far. People don't seem to be gravitating to it. But let's, give it a couple more months. See what happens, Lastly, am I the only one really getting into this tournament style of show? I don't know why, but it adds something to what's going on. Like actual brackets as being important, not just having a tournament that is 3 matches and is a big move in the right direction to make it feel like a sports-based show. It also lets some of the lower card talent get matches with top talent in a way that feels natural and not just people asking for matches and getting them, which I always thought was kind of dumb. I hope they keep up this large tournament style going forward, but make it for title shots as well. How cool would it be for Cody Rhodes' next opponent to be chosen by having a 8-round tournament where we get to know the lower card talent just as well as the top talent? It would actually make the title shots feel earned in a way that a singles top contenders match doesn't. The only downside of doing this is you are booking matches weeks in advance, so Vince can't change the matchups last minute. Have a great weekend. Remember, simple. Oh gosh, yeah. You're saying 2 in French, and I didn't know. I've never. And this is hilarious, right? To a lot of people, even in the United States, especially overseas, I've never seen the word "two" in French spelled out, ever. I took Spanish in high school. That's as far as my bilingual skills go. That's it. I know, like, again, un, deux, trois. Isn't that like 1, 2, 3? I probably didn't even get it right. It's embarrassing. I have no clue. I couldn't speak French outside of like saying baguette, right? That's it. I know the stereotypical stuff. That's it. Here's how bad my French is. The only French I know is because of, if you are old enough to know this, the Beauty and the Beast Disney original animated movie from 1991. That is how far, because it was set in a French town. They were saying bonjour to each other and some other. That's it. Literally is the only French I know is in that movie. That's it. So seeing it, so I've never actually seen it written either, which makes it double bad. So when I see DEUX, I'm like, what in the F is this? I thought it was some weird sports, like, I don't know. So still, I cannot pronounce that. And to me, in my mind, will not let me. This is how I want to pronounce it. Ready? Here's how my English mind wants to pronounce this. Ready? Simplemont Dukes. That's it. That's what Simplemont Dukes. That's how I would pronounce that, which makes no sense to me. It's awful. I know. All right, my God, is there going to be a show I don't embarrass myself? I don't know. Stranger things have happened, right? All right, let's get to our next one. Dave here. We got another patron here, Dave. Let's see what he's got to say. What's up, Matt? Since it's been since before Mania, I have checked in. I'm sure it's been tough for you without me checking in. It really has, Dave. Really tough. Like I said, therapy every week. Kind of sobbing late into the evening. It's been tough. I'm attending Raw next week in Greensboro, North Carolina, which will be my 4th live show since coming back to wrestling in October. I just wanted to give you a few thoughts. I completely agree with you about liking Logan and Cody, but I have one problem. Why? How did Logan earn this opportunity? What's the reasoning? How did Nick Aldis come to this decision? I don't know. He never really explained it. Don't know. It's kind of for something for Cody to do until The Rock comes back. And, I know there's lots of rumors out there of The Rock facing Cody at WrestleMania 41. I don't want that match at 41. I want it at SummerSlam. Get it out of the way. I don't want Cody versus Rock at WrestleMania 41. Please. I mean, I'm sure they can make it fun. They'll make it interesting because they're both talented, but to me, I don't need that much of a build for Cody and The Rock. It's not that much of an anticipated match. Sorry. Rock Roman is. Absolutely. But we'll see. I mean, I could eat my words, but right now it's a match I want to see. Just not one that I want clogging up Mania. And I also want a WrestleMania where I don't know Cody's match 12 months in advance. That'd be nice, huh? So, but I don't know where he came up with it. We're not going to get an explanation for everything. And this one, you know what? We didn't get one as far as I know, but I'm good with it. And I guess we have that. What's going to be the point of this Uncle Howdy group? Not too sure who they're going to go after, and want to see how they may avoid becoming stale after a while. Yeah, I don't know either. We know nothing about it. We don't even know the name. We don't know who's in it. We know nothing about their targets. We know nothing about their motives. We know nothing other than some QR codes. So it's hard to comment yet. Still advocating for a Dom singles push. It's just ridiculous. It needs to happen after he's exposed to cheating on Rhea, because imagine that added heat. Oh, God. I mean, once Rhea comes back and Dom gets caught cheating, it's going to be so awesome. It's going to push Rhea further into a babyface space. It's going to continue to put heat on Dom, especially with his mustache, which is just horrible, but it's perfect for him. And, here's the other thing. Given WWE's policy against men retaliating against women, you know damn well that Dom is just going to take blow after blow after low blow after, finish from Rhea Ripley, chair shot. I mean, and Dom's going to get zero offense in. Zero. Yeah, that's just the way it is right now, and it's not my cup of tea, but that's what's going to happen. Anyway, glad to be checking in again. Been a crazy past few months, which is now over, as my girlfriend and I have signed the lease for our first apartment to move in during August. Officially, we'll be moved out before 20, so I'm really excited. Also, what about what you said at the end of your show yesterday? I will continue listening while driving a forklift, and I strive to break as many OSHA rules as possible. Have a great week. Well, Dave, come on, man. I don't want to be held liable. You can't do that to me. If you're driving a forklift right now, I mean, hey, I appreciate it. Just be careful. Be careful. And you don't want to hurt anybody or yourself. Oh, that's great. And well, cool. I mean, first of all, you're getting your apartment. That's great. Anytime you move out for the first time, it's exciting. It's liberating. It's scary. It's all the above. So that's very cool. All right. And also, I didn't mention the last email from Freeman about the tournament style. I just realized. I agree it is a sports feel, but I don't want a tournament for everything. I think after this, we need a break from the tournament. I don't want every single Raw or SmackDown being structured around a tournament, because it can quickly get, you can burn out of that format quickly. So I don't mind if they revisit it in a couple months or later in the year to have an opponent for an IC title, a US title, or one of the top two world titles, or a disputed title. Absolutely. You're right. I mean, a long form tournament, not one of these ones like you said that have like, oh, here's 4 matchups, and you're in the semifinals in like the first round automatically, right? So I'd agree. All right, let's go to Hungry Pup. He says, "Hi Matt, love the show. I really like where we're heading on SmackDown. Cody versus Logan Paul. Not clear to me the stipulation, but I hope it's winner take all. Would be a very good chance Cody wins and becomes a Grand Slam champion." But it wouldn't take much to make me believe Logan could win during the match. Those two will be excellent together in the ring, and the match will be amazing. I could see a DQ ending where nobody drops their title and storyline progresses to a double title ladder match over the summer with more people. Bottom line, if the match is not a championship match, would be a huge missed opportunity. All right, Hungry Pop, listen. I'm on board for the Logan and Cody matchup. I think this is going to be awesome. To use an overdone chant nowadays. It will be. And they'll actually get those "this is awesome" chants, I'm sure. But I don't need it title versus title. Right now, it's only for Cody's title. The way that it's billed and on the card, it's only for Cody's title, not for the U.S. title. So it's Logan's not putting his on the line, but Cody is. And that's the right move. Because, again, you could have a DQ finish. But DQ finish for a title versus title match, have they ever even dared to do that? Like, why even book it if nothing's going to change hands at all. If you have a title versus title and then the finish is going to be, we got you, and nobody's losing their belts, it's kind of a way to piss off the crowd quick. But Cody cannot be a double champion right now. Logan Paul is on fire with the U.S. title. He has exceeded all of my expectations, not just in the ring, but on the mic and just from top to bottom. It's incredible how well he's transitioned. So, all right. Let's go to where we want to go. Let's go to Dino from Scotland. And let's see. He says, I got my Clash at the Castle Scotland ticket last week, and my cousin and I have decided just to bite the bullet and pay £354 or $443.94 for US dollars after conversion for each. Oh, wow. Since we don't get pay-per-views all that often, I'm just looking forward to it, and ticket sales for Clash on Saturday are doing well, so it'll probably sell out. I mean, $443, it depends on where you're sitting. But for a PLE or pay-per-view, it doesn't sound absurd unless you're in the absolute worst seats in the building. Then you got ripped off. But if you're in decent seats, that's not bad. But I've had this email drafted since Monday, 2 days after Backlash in France. So before you recorded the mailbag, I can't believe that you've stolen some of my thunder at the beginning of the mailbag show about what will happen between now and Survivor Series and WrestleMania 41. But it's cool. I'll leave it anyway. But so we'll get to that. But first, Andrew Santino, who stars as JT alongside Zac Efron and John Cena in the movie Ricky Stenicki. Is it just me that thinks he is the spitting image of Sami Zayn? Seriously, stop. What are you doing? And quickly Google him. If you can't, it's the guy with the ginger hair and beard. Every time he was on screen through the movie, he reminded me of him. You know, I never even thought of that, but there are some similarities. I don't say he's a complete duplicate. There's definitely some features of him that don't mimic Sammy exactly, but for sure, if you looked at him and saw Sammy side by side, you'd be like, they're twins. You know, that's a good point. And Ricky Stenicki, if anyone hasn't seen it, it's okay. I mean, I thought it was okay. It's exactly what you think. It's a stupid comedy that for most of the time you're not really laughing, but there are moments where you'll laugh and you'll laugh out loud. And then for 20 more minutes, you're like, oh, it's slow. And then you'll laugh again. And then it's like, like, it's okay. It's probably exactly what you think. Here's a prediction for what could happen between now and Survivor Series. And it includes two separate stories. Drew defeats Damian for the world title at Clash in Scotland. Damian may get a rematch at Money in the Bank in July, but Drew retains regardless of who he faces, and we also get The Rock returning at some point in July, maybe the SmackDown after Money in the Bank. He aligns himself with Solo and Loa at the end of SummerSlam, and we get Drew McIntyre versus Punk for the world title and Cody Rhodes versus The Rock for the WWE Championship. Solo and Loa interfere in an attempt to help The Rock win the match, but Jimmy, and Jacob Fatu take them out and level the playing field. And this is where we get the return of the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who returns and interferes and costs The Rock the match. It might not be as overbooked as that, but it could be as simple as Roman returning to SummerSlam, spearing The Rock, costing him the match. And on the way to WrestleMania 41, we will be Rock Roman and have Rock Solo, Tama Tonga and Loa versus Roman, Jimmy. Okay, so this gets doesn't it get a little convoluted? You know, like, first of all, I don't know if Jacob Fatu is going to be joining Rock or he's going to be joining Roman. I kept thinking he's going to join Solo's side of the bloodline and not Roman's, but I think that there could be a case, like you just said, for Jacob Fatu to be the guy to help Roman Reigns and help even the odds with The Rock and Jacob Fatu, or rather Rock and Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. So that could absolutely be how they do it. I was thinking Sammy may somehow make his way back and help, but if it's all about just family, not the extended family, then I think you're probably right with Jacob Fatu joining Roman's side. But you said you're right. Yeah, SummerSlam this year is loaded. It's going to be loaded with guys that we haven't seen since WrestleMania that make their return in SummerSlam. Now, they're not all going to return at SummerSlam. Some of them will return maybe at Clash of the Castle. Some will return at Money in the Bank, or before SummerSlam as a Raw or SmackDown surprise. But ultimately, I think you're going to have a Roman Reigns return at SummerSlam where it's good. The pop, guys, the pop, I can feel it. Now, not pretending to be some kind of psychic medium when it comes to wrestling predictions, or I have some kind of clairvoyance when it comes to what's going to happen with wrestling fans and their reactions. But I've been in the wrestling space for 27 years, okay? And I've been wrong a lot. But when I feel strongly about a certain reaction, I typically am right, because I've been in the space for so damn long. I kind of know how things go. What I'm feeling for Roman Reigns right now, and he's only been gone from TV for like 38 days, but it feels like 380 days, doesn't it? Because we're actually wanting him to return. It's an amazing change without him even saying or doing a thing, where we're already wanting Roman. We heard We Want Roman chants within a week of him being gone, but it feels like he's been gone for 18 weeks. I'm telling you, when Roman Reigns returns, if they do this right and they don't F it up, where Solo's riding high, he's running the bloodline, lying to Paul Heyman that Roman gave him the permission to do so. He's got his own guys. He's taken over. And then here comes the boss, Roman Reigns, to stop Solo or to confront him. The pop is going to be, I think, equal to when The Rock came back to confront Roman Reigns originally, before all of the mishap with the We Want Cody stuff. It's going to be equated to a Rock return. I think it's going to be that big. It's going to be that loud. The crowd is going to say, holy S. The crowd, Roman Reigns is going to get one of the biggest babyface pops you've heard in a while. Maybe not ever. I'm not going to go overboard, but it's going to be incredible. And I can't wait. Like, Roman Reigns is officially a babyface, and he hasn't done anything. So it would be a big mistake if they don't turn him babyface. Really big. If he just comes back and they have a bit of a quarrel, but they're still together, that'd be horrible. Imagine that. Lastly, I'd like to ask about these political agendas and ideologies you speak of from time to time. I've tried researching the company that owns WWE, but I can't genuinely seem to find out much. I think you should do an After Dark episode about it, not just on the whole Bianca, but anything and everything else you're talking about, because we want to know more about it, but I reckon a lot of us genuinely have no clue what you mean except Bianca. It would also be good to know about. Myself would be very interested to hear what you've got on an After Dark. Go all out on an After Dark episode and just everything that needs to be said. I mean, everything. Okay, well, let me just say this. It's funny that you mentioned that, and you don't have to dig too far. So TKO, right? TKO is the parent company of WWE, right? And if you're looking for political agendas, well, they have TKO, who owns WWE and UFC. They have annual reports, as every company sends out annual reports, right? Every company sends out annual reports, financials, mission statements, and so forth, everything, right? Like everything that the company is about and does and all of it. Pretty simple to find in their annual report. Right now, I know people don't go digging in this stuff. It's boring to most people. They don't look at this stuff, but this is where you find it. You can even go on TKO's website and look at like their corporate values and missions. Like, all you have to do, I mean, you could look at it that simply and go on their website and see some of the stuff. But if you dig into their corporate, their annual report, there's a section called Diversity and Inclusion. It's right there. Now, I'm not going to dig into it too much. It's for an After Dark. But DEI, for those of you that were saying, oh, he's bringing DEI into pro wrestling. It's not there. Yeah, you just make... okay, well, it's in black and white in front of me. Go look at their reports. Go look at their TKO's annual investor report. Right there. And just do a Control F, search for diversity, and it is right there. It's one of their core values. It is a section in which they... what they do to implement the DEI nonsense, it's all in there. So if you don't think it's in wrestling, you don't think it has anything to do with pro wrestling, and I'm just trying to bring in politics because it's just trying to create clicks, stop talking about it. It's right there in front of your face, guys. and it has been implemented, and the company has it in black and white in their goddamn annual report right here. So I won't get into the details of it, but yeah, now you get me fired up. It's right there. So we'll maybe I'll dive into it a little bit later. All right. So Dino, I know you had one last thing here, and you said, per my last email, I just sent it in containing my prediction from now until Survivor Series. I can't believe you've completely stolen my idea. I've convinced you've read my email and used my idea as your own. I swear I didn't. I swear I didn't, Dino. I really didn't. I didn't. Or maybe I did. We'll never know. All right. Let's go to DJ Kuzmo, back at it again on our Mailbag show, and he says, with all of these King and Queen of the Ring tournament matches occurring on Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and even at the Super Show from this past Saturday in Chattanooga, Tennessee, what does this all mean? I understand in part it is to promote the next big star in WWE, like they did in years ago with the winners Booker T, Brock Lesnar, Steve Austin, Owen Hart, just to name a few of the past winners. Then after King of the Ring, the PLE, what's next for these winners? Because last time I remember, WWE Creative under Vince McMahon did not book Zelina Vega and Xavier Woods in anything memorable other than presenting them as somewhat of a comedic sideshow with their fake British accents. Would it have made sense for the winner of the tournament to get a championship opportunity from the brand roster they're from? Or does it defeat the purpose of having the winner get a championship opportunity since we already have a championship opportunity from winning the Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and Money in the Bank? But that's exactly what I'm after, DJ. This has to mean more than just this imaginary title that you have of winning King or Queen of the Ring. It's like, cool, okay. What did you win exactly? You won a tournament to just wear play dress up? That's essentially what it's meant in the past, and it has to change. 2. Last things to mention is main event Jey Uso has taken the role as the top babyface on Raw since Cody has won the Undisputed title at WrestleMania and has been defaulted to SmackDown. The Yeet movement is continuing to gather momentum as Jey has become the most popular star on Raw in WWE. In some sporting events, they are playing Jey's theme music. Plus, I heard of Yeet lights becoming a thing at live events, so it will be interesting to see how creative books this matchup of Jey and Gunther next week if main event Jey Uso moves to the finals of the King of the Ring. Yeah, that'll be true. And Jey is in a big spot right now because Cody left a big opportunity for a top babyface to take, and Jey has seemingly taken it. Although until Seth Rollins returns, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Number 2. I don't know if you saw this backstage clip, but after Kofi's defeat to Gunther, there was an interesting Cross and Kofi interaction backstage where Cross says to Kofi, tough loss, but don't worry, there's always more time to turn things around. This is just a thought that came into my mind after watching this of Kofi turning serious and ditching the New Day gimmick for the first time in, I think, 10 years. We'll probably get to see the official end of the New Day because for every wrestler that Cross has encountered, a change has taken place in their character. Drew, Madcap Moss, oh my God, I haven't heard that name in a while, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, and even Roman Reigns in the 2022 version of the Bloodline when Cross and Scarlett returned on Friday Night SmackDown after SummerSlam. All right, I'll stop there. Have a good weekend. See y'all in the Discord chat for Friday Night SmackDown. Peace. Okay. It's possible, but here's the thing. I don't have much faith. Not to be a Debbie Downer, DJ, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in any consistency with the Final Testament and what they do and what they're capable of and what their mission is. I just don't have faith in it because they haven't shown me anything other than blips of here and there, and then they're off TV for 4 weeks, and then we're suddenly supposed to care that they're in a tag team match. I like the Final Testament, but I don't know if they'll have that big of an effect. However, sign me the hell up if you want Kofi, or if I was to have Kofi get out of the New Day. Yes, New Day ran its course 8 years ago. I'm sorry. It has. It's run its. There's nothing left to do. They're just on repeat. So, couple more emails, then we'll call it a day. This is from. Let's see. I want to make sure I get to. This is let's see. Who is this? Oh, Hyro. This is Hyro. And he says, thank you for taking my question. I'm a little disappointed that when Randy Orton signed with SmackDown, he teased a match with him saying to Paul Heyman to tell Roman, quote, daddy's back. It probably won't happen now, especially if Roman is returning as a babyface. So do you think Roman will form a team with Randy and Kevin Owens to start a storyline with them against the Bloodline? Thank you and love the podcast. All right, Hero. Thank you for the email. And I am disappointed we never got a one-on-one Randy Roman match. I remember it like broke down into a multi-person match. And how they never got a one-on-one Roman and Randy match doesn't make sense, especially given how Randy was injured by the Bloodline in storyline 18 months prior. It didn't make any sense. They missed out there. But do I think Roman will form a group with Randy and Kevin? No. Why? Because it's Bloodline versus Bloodline now. Now it's Roman with the OGs, which will happen, with Jimmy and Jay likely reconciling and reuniting, perhaps Jacob Fatu joining them, and Roman Reigns to take on, eventually, The Rock, Solo, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. That's how I think it's going to shake out. Now, could Sammy get involved? Yes, but I don't think Randy's going to get involved. At least not directly with Roman. I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately. But yeah, the daddy's back thing was great. It's great. Thank you. All right, let's go to we got two more. Here, let's do it. Attorney Tut, checking in live from the recent Monday Night Raw in Hartford, Connecticut. I went with my 3 young sons, and here are some in-person observations. Very cool. Now, I'm thinking about bringing my son to Raw, or rather SmackDown, here in a couple weeks. He's 6. And I don't know how long his attention span is. And it's later at night, past his bedtime. And it might be, I don't know what it's going to do. So I'm like back and forth. He's kind of on the cusp of being able to understand what the hell's happening. But anyway, Becky Lynch received a Becky chant when she first made her entrance. So the crowd noise during her interview was not booing Becky per se, but more of booing the sit-down interview format. The crowd was looking for action at that point in the night and didn't enjoy sitting through a sit-down interview that would have been more appropriate as a video segment. That's a good point. That's probably okay. That makes more sense to me. Live wrestling fans aren't into sitting down quietly and listening to a boring conversation. Yeah, I totally agree. It was a weird. I know they're trying to shake things up, and not everything's going to hit. This one didn't hit. It was a bad choice. They could have done this backstage, like you said, or in a pre-taped interview, but it was more of Becky just like putting over new talent. That's all it was a segment to give younger talent the stamp of approval from Becky. That's all it was. It was just a big infomercial for younger talent, courtesy of Becky Lynch. Man, is Jey Uso over. The crowd was screaming yeet consistently throughout the night and was excited to be up on their feet dancing through his entrance. He was the fan favorite star by far. There were a lot more cheers for Gunther than expected, especially considering he was going up against a babyface Sheamus. I think the fans are starting to appreciate him a little more. Yeah, I'd agree. Gunther could easily be a babyface. There's really nothing that's redeemably bad about him. Like, he doesn't have any qualities about him that are dislikable, really, other than he's a foreigner. Okay. And he beats his opponents mercilessly, and he's a badass. He respects the ring. He's about respect with the sport. I mean, there's real. I don't. It's kind of mind-boggling that he is a heel, but I can see where fans are starting to turn. Not sure if there was an actual sellout. It sure looked like it based on the number of seats filled all the way up to the rafters. It was a much more enthusiastic crowd than we had experienced at SmackDown in the same venue late in 2022. Well, it sounds like you and your 3 sons had a great time, Attorney Tut, and I'm glad that you did. Not every event is created the same as you are seeing. It depends on the event. It depends how hot wrestling is, what time of the year it is, what brand is there, and really just the people that are there. Is it families? Is it, is it more single males? Is it, a lot of females going out. Like, is it a mix? There's so many factors, and obviously the product itself is going to dictate the reaction too, but very cool. Very cool. All right, let's go. Final email. King Scully in the house representing the UK all day. Hey, WWE and Matt and WWE Podcast Galaxy. As the band Stained sang, it's been a while. I haven't graced the mailbag with my presence before Mania. It seems so long ago. I've been finding it difficult to watch a full episode of Raw or SmackDown. I've been only watching bits. Must be the Cody effect. Could be, yes. I watched Backlash, though, and the French fans were loud but annoying. Right? Thank you. I mean, I don't want to belabor the point. I think I've beaten that dead horse many times over. They were loud. I appreciate the noise, but it felt too much. Like we didn't understand what they were saying. At least I didn't, and I know many people didn't in the United States. It was just too much. Like, just shut up and react to the match. I don't need to hear your songs. I don't need to hear you go into these tirades of whatever you guys normally do at sporting events. Like, just watch the match. It felt very much like the match didn't even need to be there for them to just be impressed with themselves. You know, at the same time, I mean, I sound like I'm being insulting, but I also appreciate the hell out of their energy. So it's a weird kind of backhanded compliment that I'm giving the crowd. I've never felt this conflicted about a crowd before, where the crowd was loud, but loud in a way that was just annoying. So I've never felt that way before in my life. I just don't know how to really truly feel. I don't have a single emotion. It's multi-emotion, a multi-emotion type feeling for the French crowd. Great energy for Jay and Randy's entrances, but other than that, they were repetitive. Every time there was a 2 count, which happened often, they sang and clapped the same song. Yeah, see, exactly. It got on my nerves. Yes, it did. Me too. The matches themselves were decent, though, although I would say that the injuries and big absences on big stars aren't helping in general. But also, here's the thing. It allows younger talent to have a slot to fill and have more time where the big stars are absent. It's a time and opportunity for younger talent to get that attention. So there is a silver lining there. Cody bores me. When I hear his entrance, I roll my eyes. I can't wait for the fans to turn on him so I can enjoy his character once again. Me too. But dude, it's going to be a while. We're talking past WrestleMania 41, I think. It's going to happen. It's just going to be a while. Becky, get the belt off of her and put it on the shelf with Seth. Same old stale man, half-ass promos. Yeah, Becky's trying. It's not a lack of effort, I don't think. It's just she's the same character since she's became the man in 2018. She's the same. That's her problem. She doesn't feel fresh. Okay. The Street Profits are stale like the New Day. Positives are Jade Cargill. Love her entrance. Very old school, and she's certainly showing her ability in the ring. Drew McIntyre has continued to make me laugh and keeps me intrigued. Should have let him keep the title as I'm just not sure that Damian Priest is the right guy right now. I'm finding the Bloodline story interesting, but is it me or does Solo need to change his hair? He reminds me of Stripe from the Gremlins. Oh, yeah. I see what you sent a pic. I got you. Yeah. Big shout out to my teammates on Wrestle Magic, The Gardener, Michael Gross, his brother Tim, Rocky T, Maverick, Memphis Mark, and Michael Patrick. We have some exciting episodes coming your way with some very special guests, King Scully. Well, thank you so much for your contributions and to the whole Wrestle Magic team who continues to pump out a lot of fun content and big guests, and they do a great job. But does Solo need to change his hair? I mean, never really thought about it. I mean, Seth Rollins took the streak out of his hair, the blonde streak. I don't feel strongly. I don't feel strongly one way or the other. To me, it's like, if you do, cool. If you don't, cool, fine. To me, it's about his demeanor, his promos in ring. I think that the stripe in his hair, for now, doesn't annoy me. But now that you've mentioned it, now I'm just going to get pissed off about it. So, all right. That'll do it for me. I don't know. We might have had a couple of voicemails. If we did, I'll try to crank them in or push them in a future episode, maybe on the Raw or Week in Review. But that'll do it for me in this somewhat abbreviated version of the mailbag. I thank everybody for contributing. You guys can get a priority placement in the mailbag, as you heard here, for patrons at patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can send me emails through there, or as I said, the email I just gave you, and go ad free. There's a 1 week free trial there. Also 1 week free trial in Apple Podcasts. If you just want to hit the subscribe button there and not have to leave your iPhone native podcast app, it's right there. So that'll do it for me now, guys. This is it for the week for me until Sunday. So thank you so much. But for you patrons, though, on the higher tiers, I may pop in for a video or two and give you guys some additional thoughts and interact a little bit more on the Patreon side of things. But for those who are on the free feed, this will conclude my contributions for the week. Thanks so much for listening. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.